Let's talk about building an activity system out, right? And what I mean by a system is I mean your process you follow for the activities you do in your business. You need a schedule, okay? Because if you want to meet in groups, you need times where you get together. Because if you don't, you can't get groups together. You can get one-on-one people together kind of whenever you can connect, but any more than one other person, and now you got to schedule it, right? So if you're going to do things in teams, you need a schedule, and you need to decide what it is and stick to it, okay? Now everybody in here, you either need to be doing a team gathering every week or be a part of one, okay? One or the other. You don't have to do it initially, but you got to have one. You got to have a team gathering every week. Because if you don't have a team gathering every week, you don't have anything third party to refer people to, and you're going to be stuck again. And if you find too many people are hitting you up for stuff, then you start a team gathering, because you need to start one, right? The second you have a weekly team gathering, you can fend off every question that comes at you, okay? And here's why that's important to you. Because you need to produce, okay? And if your time is consumed by stuff, you can't produce. And if you are producing and helping people with everything, your entire day will be consumed if you're good. Your whole day, your whole night. If you're good, your organization will expand so fast, it will be beyond your capacity to handle in like 3 weeks. When you know what you're doing, your organization will grow in 3 weeks larger than your capacity to handle if you're helping people and not fending stuff off to group gatherings. Always work with the numbers and groups, okay? Always, 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 always. Because people will tell you all sorts of things to try to distract you from that, okay? And you'll start to see it, okay? You've probably seen it already. People will tell you whatever they can come up with to try to get your attention, okay? And whenever you give it to them and you don't follow your rules, right? You take your energy off of where you're headed. You take your energy off of what's going to grow the team, right? And you take your energy off of what's making everybody money. So you got to learn how to fend this stuff off. And it's not about ignoring people. It's about doing things in a way that's smart, because when you're in those growth phases initially and you're building teams of people, you just get mauled, right? People will come through back doors on Facebook and they'll say, hey, I need coaching for this, you know? Hey, can you call me and help me with this? Hey, my website isn't working, can you put a banner on it? You know, my WordPress isn't working, can you install it? You know, what exactly do I say to somebody when they ask this question? And people will just come out of the woodwork as you're building teams, but then you don't have time to help people that are actually doing something, right? So then you don't have any time anymore, and then you stop producing because you run around. And I know because I've done all of this dumb stuff. All of it, right? When I was new on the internet and I started marketing and recruiting like crazy, I told people, hey, you join my team and I'm going to help you with everything. I'm going to show you how to set up your blog. You got a question, give me a call. It's like a bonus for being a part of the team. You know, some people are like, as a bonus for being part of my team, you can call me anytime you like, because I know these guys, they don't like to pick up the phone, but I'll pick up the phone. Doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. It's a bonus. You know what I mean? Well, God forbid that works, you know, as a bonus, right? Because people will take it seriously because you offered it. And then you got to deliver on it, which sucks, right? That's what I did. And it wasn't like that, but I was like, you know, you got to be a part of the inner circle and I'll coach you. So I started, here's what happened. I got so good at recruiting, right? At first I was like, yeah, I'll coach person, you know, maybe an hour a day to spend on the phone with people. And it was like in 3 weeks, it was like my schedule was booked from the morning till the night with people wanting to talk to me because I was so good at recruiting, right? That's not fun, right? So I changed my bonus. And I said, if you join my team, I won't help you with anything. It's my bonus. And it worked just the same. And here's why it worked. Is because when I did that bonus instead of the first bonus, what I said is I said, here, look, here's the deal. You're joining all these teams and all these organizations, and everybody's offering you everything under the sun. The reason they are is because what they're selling isn't valuable, right? And because, here's the key, they don't make any money, so they got time to be on the phone with you, and they're slaves to their business, and if you listen to them, you will be too. But if you join my team, it's different, and here's why. Because if you join my team, not only do I not have to help you with anything, you don't have to help your team run around because we get together in gatherings and we solve each other's problems in groups. And if you join my team, you get to build a business and have a life at the same time. That was a much better pitch. When I changed my pitch to that, My phone calls went to 0 in 3 weeks. People were afraid to call. Because what I said in the videos. They're like, I won't call. It's part of it. I can't. I'll just go to work. You know what I mean? Went to 0. 0. Like even people who knew me were like, they look at the call and the phone and like Rob Forey told me, he's like, I wanted to call you, but I was looking at the phone. I was like, I don't know, he might get mad. You know what I'm saying? So he just went and made $10,000 a month. And I didn't even know who he was until I noticed him. I was like, who's that guy? Oh, he's making like $10,000 a month, right? That was cool. I met Chris Record. Here's how I met Chris Record in my organization. Somebody was like, hey, Dave, do you know Chris Record? And he was like, no, who is he? And he was like, he's that guy. And he's at one of our events. I said, oh, who's that? I said, oh, you sponsored him. And I said, I did? He said, yeah, he's got like 5 6-figure earners down the line. And I was like, oh. I was like, hey, dude, how's it going? And I was like, I'm Dave. And he's like, yeah, how's it going? I was like, you want to speak in 10 minutes? Right? Because he just joined and just went and created 5 6-figure earners. Right? That's way cooler. You know what I mean? I like to have so many successful people I can't talk to them all. You only do it when you pass things through these processes of doing things, right? If you're trying to control everybody, it keeps them locked around you. You know what I'm saying? So if you're free to produce because you're not doing all this stuff, like if you're a normal person in this industry, that I just freed up your entire day. Right? Didn't I? Right? Didn't I just free, how many hours a day did I just free up today in this training? From what you're doing? Yeah. Many hours a day. Many hours of bullshit that doesn't pay. I'm trying to rhyme like a pile of hay. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's like I just freed up her whole day in this day-long training. I just freed up probably 5 hours a day. Probably, right? Maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 hours sometimes. Of bullshit. We're talking straight bullshit that nobody has ever told her she doesn't have to do. You know what I'm saying? I want to sell this to everybody. It's like cheating. It's like having your cake and eating it too. Who says I can't? I don't even know what it's like to have a cake without eating it or vice versa. Seems like each way I have both, you know? So you got daily things you need to do, weekly things you need to do, monthly things you need to do, and you've got quarterly things you need to do. And it's better to think of your business in chunks like that. Daily, right? Daily you need to be focused on when you're working, you're recruiting or producing, and you're always trying to hit width and depth at the same time whenever you're doing anything, right? So you're always trying to recruit in a way, if you're recruiting in a way that creates depth at the same time. Always the best. Somebody says, should I go wide or should I go deep? Yes, right? If you can, both at the same time. Because if you can recruit in a way that doesn't involve you being on the phone all day and night, well, then you have time to work with your team who's producing because you don't have to be on the phone with anybody, right? See, if you have to be on the phone with everybody, you don't have time to do any of this. But if you don't have to be on the phone with anybody and you don't get calls, you can actually look and see who your leaders are and hang out with them. But it might get difficult if you get too many of them. Then you still get overloaded and you got to say, gosh, this is getting hard. I got too many of these guys, you know, and they need to come to a meeting, right? Then you got to meet with everybody at events and stuff. And then you get more and more leaders and you have to get more and more selective. It just gets weird after a while, right, when you build like this. Right? So you got daily things. Daily, you should be focused on producing. Daily, you should be focused on producing. What do we do in this business? I talked about in the top producer formula, right? What you need to be doing in this business is selling and recruiting all day long. That's it. If you're working, you're aiming something at selling and recruiting. Selling products and recruiting new distributors, and that's it. Okay? When you sell a product, you earn a commission. When you recruit a person, you get an evangelist, right? So, that's what we do. Weekly, what do you need, right? You need to have some kind of gathering, right? Some kind of a team gathering. If you guys don't have a team that you're part of, start one. It's really easy. You know, one of the best piece of advice I ever had was when I was new online. I called one of my friends, and he had a weekly call going. And I said, when should I start one of those? And he said, how big's your list? I said, 84 people. And he said, you should have started it when you had one person on your list. Right? And I was like, why? And you know what he told me? He said, because if you have a call and you're on the line, it says number one, you got to prepare content to teach them, so you got to learn better, right? Number two, you'll get a bigger list because you ain't going to have a call with just one person. You'll feel silly on it, right? Number three, you're going to become an inspirational communicator if you do that every week. Number four, if anything ever goes wrong, your organization, your business, the people who come on your call every week will be unbelievably loyal to you. Well, that came in real handy about 4 or 5 months later when I was the number one producer in a company that went out of business. Because I just did a call, and everybody came into my new company like that. Didn't take any effort. The company went out of business. I was not even emotional about it. I was on the phone, CEO called me. He said, we've decided to go out of business, or whatever their excuse was that day, right? And I went like this. Hung up the phone, called a friend that was in another deal, said, give me a link, joined, right? 1 hour later was on a webinar. That night recruited 67 people. Okay? I'm messing around. It's my team, not the company's, right? That's the way I look at things. Now, that's me. I'd start a weekly team thing because people get loyal to you when they come back every week. And you have to learn how to keep people around or they won't come back. So it's like you got to force yourself to learn. It's a good thing. You say, but I'm nervous to get in front of people. Then invite some other people to be guests with you and just watch what they do or something, right? Or go plug in with somebody else and ask if you can come on and they can coach you. Something like that. You know, participate in somebody else's organization is fine. You need something live every week. I've been telling people it for years, and only a few people do it, and I've almost never ran into somebody ever that's had a live thing for their team every week that hasn't started making a full-time income. I've almost never ran into it. There's all kinds of people that avoid it. There's tons of people that avoid doing it. There's tons of people that start doing it and quit doing it, but of the people that I know that have just kept doing it every week, Lawrence, have you met anybody? They do it for 6 months and they don't make a full-time income, where they do something live and they force themselves to promote it? Never happens. You know? Never happens. People who do that stuff start making money. Okay? Make sense? It's like, what's the key to making money? Well, start doing live stuff, right? Remember, everything you do with your organization, promote the next event, you're selling, you're upselling, right? You're teaching at the same time. You're doing everything at once at the same time, right? And every time you're doing a training, you want to turn that into a call to action, to buy something to get to the next event, to buy the next training, all the time, right? You just get used to it. Because if you're not doing that, see, some people are like, I just want to record a training video. What, for free? Okay. You know what I mean? You're not even going to tell people to buy something in it? You're just going to have a bunch of free training? Hey, look at me, I'm going to train you on how to give away free training and be broke. Let's do a training on that together. How to do free training and make no money at all. Video series by David Wood, right? Sounds really interesting, doesn't it? Let me teach you how to sit around making YouTube videos all day while you make no money at all. I've got this great training for you. I would charge you, but I'm not willing to charge something because I've got a poverty mindset. So I'm going to give it to you for free because I'm not willing to sell because that's for evil people like Lex Luthor. The bullshit people come up with is unbelievable to me, right? And I've let myself do this too, right? But when you just give of yourself and you give of yourself and you give of yourself, it doesn't help anybody, it doesn't help you. So if you're going to do training for people, it's fine, but sell something on it. You know? You like this training? Buy now, right? It's easy, you know? So you need something weekly, daily focus on production, right? Monthly, you do a training for people in a group of some kind, right? In offline network marketing, they do Super Saturdays. Online, you need to have at least something that's a little bit more intense going on every month, right? And then quarterly, you need to attend a big event with your team. You need to, right? If you don't, it will be 100 times harder to hold your team together. 100 times. Because you are going to have to try to do the work of an event. Okay? You can't. Hopefully your company's got quarterly events, right? You can't do the work of an event, nor would I want to. See, I don't even plan my events. I just show up and I speak. I meet the speakers and stuff, right? We have event planners and things. I don't want to plan events. I just want to do events. Because when people gather together, they build relationships. When people gather together, they change beliefs. When people gather together, they see other people that they knew before changing and feel compelled to change. When people gather together, they have breakthroughs that they don't have if they don't. There is no getting around it. We can do recruiting meetings on the internet, they're more effective. But as far as cultural events, it is not more effective, right? People say, I don't need to go to those events because I can build on the internet. That's true. That's true. But you're not going to build generational leadership, okay? In the Mass Influence Formula, which I'm teaching in Charlotte, I'm going to talk about influencing people in unbelievably massive numbers and how to walk people through changing and things like that, right? The reality is that you can't do this stuff that you can do live if you're not live. You can't. You just can't, right? So some of you've been in this space where you're like, oh, I'm not going to promote the events. Okay, have fun, because you're going to do 10 times the work if you don't, right? For me, I'm talking about the next event on everything I do. Why? Because I talk about everything I do and everybody starts repeating that behavior. I got a whole organization of people that are always talking about how great the next event is, and people show up without really doing anything, right? And if people show up, it's like this event. Do you guys see the difference in people's faces right now versus when the event started? You see it? You look around the room in the breaks in this training today, you see people's faces, right? People don't have shifts like this if they don't go to the events, right? And they don't make commitments either. How do you create organizations of people that go full time? What are you looking for? You're looking for full-time people, right? They're the glue. You're looking for people that go full time. This is how they make their living. Full-time people, right? When you get a full-time person, okay, they're committed at a different level. This is how they make their living. They become professional. They start to study. They start to learn. They start to teach, right? They start to do team hangouts. They start to do webinars. Full-time is what you're looking for. You're looking for how many people can I create to be full-time, right? People won't go full-time usually before events. It's super rare, okay? AK's a weird one because he lives in like Germany or whatever, so it's harder. You know, he's got to fly like thousands of miles. But people generally won't do it. You need them to come together. Because here's what happens. At an event, you meet somebody like Lawrence Tam, and people look at him who are engineers and they say, oh shoot, I can do this. Pfft, Lawrence Tam's making tons of money and I'm an engineer too. Or they're a hippie and they see Justin Rengie, they say, this is the first company I've ever been into where a hippie had money. This is amazing. I'm going to be rich too. You know? Or they see Tony Rush and they say, I just like that guy because he thinks a lot. I can be rich too because I think about a lot of stuff and question everything too, just like Tony, right? You know, people see somebody who's some way related to them and they connect with it and they just kind of shift a little bit, you know? And I got story after story after story of people, they come to an event, right? They have some shift and then they actually start making money because they actually start doing it, right? It's third-party belief change. That's what events are for. Third-party belief change. Something that you don't have the ability to do on your own. I don't have the ability to do it on my own, and I'm really good at this stuff. And I can't do what an event can do. So stop making excuses to promote your company events and stop trying to think it's the company trying to sell you tickets and stuff. It doesn't matter what company it is. Almost no network marketing company I know makes much money or any money on their events. Almost none of them. Well, why do they do them then? Because when their reps change, they make money. Okay? That's why. Get to your company events and promote them and talk about them all the time, quarterly, right? And when you get at the events, when you're doing your team events, all of it, you're always building this inner circle of people and making them do something to be there, right? Not just building an inner circle, but people have to do something to be in it. Why do they have to do something to be in it? Because if you don't have to do anything to be in it, you just got there one day and then you're there forever, what happens? Well, people always feel like they're on the outside who are the new producers, right? You always want to invite people into the circle and have them take action to get there, right? Because if you do that, people will take action they otherwise wouldn't take so they can be close to you, okay? So the events, it's a great opportunity to have a meeting only for the people in the top package, right? We're doing a meeting only for the people that are all in, right? At the event. Stuff like that. That make sense to you guys? So that's, if you look at an activity system, that's what you need. As far as training your team, how should you train your team? Third party only, in my opinion. Okay? If you want to build a big business quick, third party. Why? Because then you won't get trapped in anything. Okay? What do I refer people to? These products. Why? Because if I send people here, I don't need to send them anything else. Okay? Because I'm not going to send them to every little strategy on the planet. That's what I do. Right? Why? Because then they're learning from something where I'm not sitting there and talking for 8 hours, or I'm not having to coach them on everything. Because people who aren't producing want to be coached. Leaders want to go hang out in exotic, fun places, spending lots of money on stuff. It's different. Okay, I'd rather do the latter. Let's go to Cancun together or something when you're making $100,000 a month, we'll go, I'll be like, hey, you want to go to South Africa today? And we'll pop on a jet or something and go there. That's fun. You know what I mean? That's what people are doing this for, not just meetings. You know what I mean? So this is how you coach people, is third-party tools, third-party trainings, third-party events, all right?
Folks, obviously the income examples discussed are extraordinary. The income claims presented are not intended to serve as a guarantee of income. Instead, they're designed to give you an idea of what's possible. Success in this business requires leadership, hard work, and dedication. Since we want to help you make an informed decision, we've gone above and beyond with our income disclosure document. If you want to see the average earnings, please visit the page at www.empowernetwork.com/income.php.